Proudly brought to you by Grace Brothers Auto Detailing and the Daily Mirror.
We love the S.C.G lights, so watch out Wests tonight.
Monday night football. Monday night under lights. Monday night football.
Tonight's round 18 Winfield Cup match between South Sydney and Western Suburbs is coming live from the Sydney Cricket Ground. When Souths and Wests met in round 5 at Arana Park, Souths were the winners by 14 points to 11. And we now see the Rabbitohs up in the top 5 on the premiership table with 22 points, and the Magpies holding the wooden spoon with only 10. OK, let's check how the two line up for tonight's clash.
Well, thanks, Rex. Of course, South Sydney certainly have become the specialists under the lights Monday night football. Since the inception back in 1985, the Rabbitohs have won 8 out of 9 under the lights, and they are expected to win again tonight. Simply, the conditions become a great leveller for Western Suburbs, of course, but the South Sydney forwards should certainly see them roll away once again with the Winfield Cup points here tonight. Let's just check the full lineup from fullback for the South Sydney side tonight. David Cruikshank, Ross Harrington, Steve Maven, Michael Blake, Jason Moon, Mark Ellison and Coleman are the halves. The forwards, Andrews, Davidson and Roberts. In the front row of Boyle, Fennick and Ian Roberts. And David Fordham, I guess as you look at it, I think South Sydney are certainly odds on to improve on that 8 out of 9 record.
Well, thank you, Graham. And one of the 8 successes of South Sydney was, in fact, against Western Suburbs at the Sydney Cricket Ground under lights last year. In fact, on June the 30th, when the Rabbitohs got away with the Magpies to the tune of 23 points to 16. Well, the Magpies have been forced to make 3 late changes to their original lineup for tonight's clash under lights at the S.C.G. In fact, coming in at fullback is a replacement wearing jersey number 29 is Ian Naden. The three-quarters of Philip Duke, Alan Geelan, John Allenson, and the newcomer making his first grade debut tonight, a local junior, Jason Williams, who'll wear number 15. The halves of Brett Clark and Trevor Cogger. The forwards led by Ian Schubert, John Elias, John Bilberger, Ian Freeman, Alan Fowler, and the other prop forward is Scott Tronk. The side, of course, is coached by Steve Goshen.
As the band strikes up, everything is in readiness for another live match under lights. We'll take a break and be back for the kick-off between Souths and Wests.
Monday night football.
Well, both sides have taken the field for this important clash to South Sydney. It's important too for Western Suburbs. A win would get them scurrying away from the bottom of the table. But South Sydney need the points. They need them desperately, and I don't believe that they're going to take a backward step tonight. I think the forwards of South Sydney will drive hard all through the night, through the mud. And we're not free of this rain that came down torrentially only about an hour ago. It lasted for about 20 minutes. The ground was drying out reasonably well, and that put paid to any thoughts of open football. But the reserve grade handled the ball reasonably well. There was some good football in the game. And the scores in the games were under 23s, South 14, West 10. The reserve grade, I thought, a particularly good exhibition of wet weather play. South Sydney 10, Western Suburbs 6. Western Suburbs occupy last place in 3 grades. And they still do in the under 23s and reserve grade after the result tonight. It's open to the result of this game to see whether the first, they'll be equal last with North St Penrith if they come up with a win tonight. Western Suburbs running from left to right. We're playing in the black and white uniform. South Sydney receiving the ball in the green and red. The referee, curiously, is Mr. McCullum, who's 3 on the trot for this Monday night football. The first ball mishandled by Andrews, goes backwards. And he's mauled hard there in the quarter, only about 15 metres out from the line. Mario Fennick for the first time going for a run from dummy half. I believe he'll be doing that all night. Coleman with a cutout pass to Davidson. Beautifully away to Cruikshank, going strongly, gets a pass away. No, he doesn't. Just time to look to give a pass to Ian Roberts, and Roberts has run way downfield, anticipating a kick. I was expecting the referee to penalise him for that. They'll certainly penalise him after this season. There's Mario Fennick going for a sprint. Now here go the South Sydney forwards. Craig Coleman out to Harrington. Harrington's caught by the neck, gets a pass away to Coleman. Coleman's got time to get it into Fennick. Fennick stands in a tackle, and I believe it'll be a handover. Yes, it will. That's right, Mario. Put it on the ground. Scott Tronk comes up with it, loses the ball first off. Way to Roberts. Back inside to Davidson. Davidson steaming ahead, going right up to the quarter line. Tackle by Freeman. Andrews, Coleman, Mario Fennick ducks under a tackle, goes straight ahead for 15 metres. A good straight run. Already he's assuming the mantle I expected of him. Boyle, Ellison, Davison caught on the tackle, can't get the ball free. Arms locked to his side. Just inside the Western Suburbs quarter. Andrews, Coleman, little stab kick through. They're racing for it. I believe it was knocked on by Marvin, but it's also offside. That's the first penalty of the match to Western Suburbs. And there'll be a lot more kicking like this right throughout the night. A good little grubber kick from Coleman. Maven was ruled offside, but there'll be a hell of a lot more kicking, especially to the corners of all four corners here tonight in the football, because errors inside your own quarter are going to be all important. If you can maintain a good set of 6 tackles defensively, the opposition, you've got to come up with those errors inside their own half. They're the ones that can turn them around. You come up with the ball and come up with the points. Well, the referee had obviously called tackle mid that little hurly-burly there. I don't know how the South Sydney players are expected to stop tackling Freeman, but he's penalised South Sydney. Nathan gets a good kick downfield, takes play over the halfway. 2 penalties to Western Suburbs. Freeman about to go backwards again. Right in the middle of the slush. Bilbiger. Tackled by Andrews there, right around the boots. Falla. Schubert. Schubert. Way to Williams, making his debut on the side. Falla. Cogger. Clark. Nicely to Allinson. Allinson goes straight and hard. Gets to his feet. Didn't play it. There was no opportunity for him really to play it there. He was tackled and put down, then the ball rolled free, so it'll be a scrum with a South Sydney feed. And there'll be a hell of a lot of lost ball here as players struggle to quickly play the ball. The ball will be slipping out on a number of occasions tonight. Easy marks in defence. People like Les Davidson, who's been in great form, at least in the mud tonight. He doesn't get the opportunity to get up as much steam, and the defensive line of Schubert, Elias and Ian Freeman should be able to make him a lot easier to mark than normal. Michael Blake coming to grief there right on the 10-yard line. 10 yards South Sydney side of halfway. Marvin runs from dummy half, pushes off a player, goes up to the halfway line. Good stuff. Coleman pushes his way through the mud out to Roberts. Roberts swirls in the tackle. He's going to change direction of the pass, but thought better of it. Fennick still using the blind side to Coleman. Coleman's grubber kick down the sideline takes play up to the Western Suburbs quarter. Might I say, in the South Sydney side at the moment is a player that's very much an unsung hero. That's Andrews, the lock forward, who is developing into a model footballer. Go to Cogger. Cogger runs on the open side, gets through, 1 tackle, 2. Well, he did Andrews for pace there. Strong defence on Elias. Falla trying to run from dummy half. There's no way with the South Sydney side. Naden. Schubert electing to retain the ball. Still about 8 metres outside their quarter. Gillen. Cogger nipped in the bud there with a beautiful tackle from Coleman. got up and went another yard. Fellas kick for touch. I just can't recall which tackle that was, but it was a neat little kick, and it still retains the ball for Western Suburbs. Coleman, no, it's Coleman's ball. Yes, I think Coleman came up and asked the question. In and out to Ellison. Ellison drives the ball downfield, stops in the mud about 8 metres out from the line. Naden falls on it, picks it up, taken down hard by Moon. Gillen, Schubert. He's got to get some kicking game in here, Schubert. He's got to have somebody designated to reef the ball downfield. It's suicidal not to in these conditions. Back to Fella, now to Naden. It's made the halfway line, stops in the mud, picked up by Cruikshank. He's got plenty of pace, this young lad. Gillen puts him down 7 metres inside the half. Blake, Coleman, Roberts. Coleman calling for Roberts to get up quickly and play it. Comes back the blind side onto Ellison. Ellison throws the dummy, gets nearly through there. Coleman, Roberts, pass to Coleman. Coleman back in the inside to Boyle. Boyle to Fenwick. Fenwick sights an opening, goes strong and hard. Very, very straight run. Good stuff. To his feet and plays it. Coleman out to Ellison. Oh, Ellison's going to score, I think. Yes, he is. Ellison threw the dummy. They hung off and over he went. Very good play by South Sydney. Had plenty of numbers out there on the left. See it again.
Confident start by South Sydney, even under the conditions their handling has been superb. Beautifully grabbed in by Coleman. He set himself to kick through the dummy. Ellison found plenty of open spaces, looking for the gaps, and defence on the line there from Schubert, but he just crashed over. They're playing with plenty of confidence. As I said earlier this evening, that they are the specialists under lights. 8 out of 9 Monday night football. Mark Ellison, a good player for South Sydney against Balmain here under lights on the first night, and plenty of skills there from the 5'8". Beautifully taken in by Coleman to set them on their way, but short in numbers. Western Suburbs on the blind side. Too many of the defensive players standing back and not moving up in the line.
Well, I'd imagine goal kicking is going to be a pretty hazardous exercise under these conditions. Not the least of which would be to lose your footing completely as you strike the ball and land on the broad of your back. That's how bad the conditions are. So most of the goal kickers I've seen in the under-23s and the reserve grade were virtually stabbing at the ball, not following through very far for fear of overbalancing. Ellison. Just away to the left. It probably wouldn't have gone over had it been straight. So the score remains South Sydney 4, Western Suburbs 0. Western Suburbs are back in possession after the kick-off. There was a South Sydney error in the quarter. West have made a couple of errors, but the ball hasn't gone forward. This time it's with Freeman. He burrows for the line. That's a good solid run. Just about 3 metres outside the quarter. Crisscross move work there on the ruck. Given away to Naden, the fullback, who chimed in. Last tackle coming up. Elias out to Brett Clark. Grubber kicks for the in-goal area. And skated over the sideline and still going on the broad of his back 7 or 8 yards later was Ross Harrington.
And coming up with the right tactics too, Brett Clark. We saw Craig Coleman put a grubber kick in. This time Clark struck it as solid as he could because of the conditions. He knew the ball was going to pull up, and Harrington had nothing to do except drop on the ball. So South Sydney to return the ball back to West. Problem being for West in these conditions if they can just hold it for a further 6.
Ellison to restart. Duke stops it with his foot. Brings the ball back, not with a great deal of conviction, I thought. Didn't seem to get himself going all that fast. Allenson runs with conviction. He's a very strong player and he throws his arms around and gets very quickly to his feet. Fella onto Scott Tronk. He's created a good impression with the Western Suburbs club. 15 metres out from the line. Fella. Cogger Clark, Schubert, cut out past to Naden. Naden looks for support and is dragged over the sideline. That's something he's got to be aware of, that if he's tackled 3 metres in, he's still going to slide. Yes, Johnny Crouch, you've got news on the footy tab scene. Take it away.
Yes, I have, Rex. There's $43,000 in the pick the result dividend pool, and the punters have made South Sydney overwhelming favourites with a popular score of South Sydney 18, Western Suburbs 10. And just a reminder to hold on to your pick the margins tickets, because if there happens to be no winning entry tonight, then the payout will be on any 5 correct selections.
Okay, Harrington's in possession just inside his quarter. On to Ellison. Ellison goes over. Now there's the first penalty against Western Suburbs for failure to go back to 5 yards. This will give South Sydney a bit of an opportunity to get a breather.
And probably take the tap. The heavy ball, something that's going to cause plenty of problems. Penalties in the middle of the field tonight. The ball is just so heavy, they just can't take the risk to try and find touch out in the sideline.
Boyle to Coleman to Fennick. Fennick swung to the ground. Andrews, a dummy half, drops the ball. That's got to be guarded against. Trying to run from there. Fennick a little bit lazy getting away from the tackle player. He's not lazy with that tackle. It was a good one. Right around the boots. Elias. Oh, no, I think that was Bilbinger. He lost the ball straight away in the tackle. Out to Blake. Blake to Roberts. Roberts looks around, sees as he can get it to onto Marvin. Marvin makes a bit of an inroad 10 metres from the halfway line. Fennick onto Ellison. Ellison kicks to the open wing. Brett Clark picks it up. He's had a bit of a slump in form since coming back from England. There's young Williams. He's going quite well. Jason Williams, playing a number 15. He's a new boy in the club and certainly new in first grade. It's a debut match for him. Schubert, Cogger, Clark, Naden dropped it. I thought he dropped it backwards. The referee disagrees and says he knocked it on. Yes, David, you're not in the mud, you're close to it.
Actually, I've played a bit chicken tonight, Rex. In these conditions, I've moved back under cover of the member stand, but certainly the middle of the Sydney Cricket Ground is an absolute quagmire. With the new stands that have been built here, with the Clive Churchill stand and the Barongal, the cricket ground sees very little sun these days, nor the advantage of the wind.
Well, there's a race for the ball, but it ended up with the Western Suburbs winger going diving full length and then ending up in the in-goal area. Watch it.
Good chase from David Cruikshank, but Ian Naden, great dive to recover possession there. Good tactics from Ellison. I think as confident as South Sydney are, they're trying to spread the ball too much on early tackles. It's going to be an easier result for them if they can just apply the pressure to Western Suburbs like this, kick on earlier tackles.
Well, Davidson stopped that with his foot. He's done very well. Got a pass away and it's still going. The referee said he wasn't on the ground. Out to... well, now the ball's been stolen there and lost. So Western Suburbs are in possession. Fowler, Ian Naden, 29, running very sweetly. Gets it out to Allinson. Allinson tackled and held on the quarter line. Naden at dummy half, gets it away to Elias, who loses the thing on the first time he touches it. South Sydney back in possession. Strong work there from Mario Fennick. Well, they're working their way into another try-scoring position. Craig Coleman got a pass away. It was a pretty ordinary pass. Fennick tried Andrews tried the dive on it and couldn't do it.
Well, it should be similar tactics here for Western Suburbs too. They shouldn't be trying to force the ball too much. I'm claiming here that Alan Fowler's injured, but what they've got to do is also kick on earlier tackles. Unfortunately, we'll just take a break here. They're just repeating that scoreline for South Sydney now. South 4, West yet to score.
We come back just in time to see Brett Clark get a grubber kick in, which stopped dead as it went over the sideline. Absolutely dead, as if it had been hit by a wall. It's one against the feed. Out to Cruikshank. Cruikshank running well. Gets it away to Michael Blake, who's wrapped up solidly by Alan Geelan. Good solid head-on tackle. Ellison back on the inside to Roberts. Andrews, Michael Blake, nowhere to go. Coleman. Play situated midway between the west quarter and the halfway line. Blake, Ellison. Beautiful pass back on the inside to Roberts. Roberts, oh, he's been dived at and tackled by Brett Clark with an ankle-tight tackle. Only about 11 metres out. I thought he was clear. Andrews. And there's a pass to Boyle, which has been put down. That looked very, very good, that move from South Sydney, until this happened.
And on the replay, Paul Roberts is becoming a perfect foil for his second row partner, Les Davidson, a man that's got plenty of speed in the back row, and the ankle tap, he was certainly on his way to the line.
We come back with Western Suburbs winning the scrum. Clark trying to get to his feet and being held down. That's a tackle, a penalty against Les Davidson for failure to get away from the tackle player. Naden's kick is a very good one. A little bit lucky perhaps, but he really gave that some beef. There's the young winger. He's busted them right up. He's gone right through the middle. It's good football from young Williams. A great run. That's brought the crowd alive. And there is a penalty to Western Suburbs for Mario Fennick striking for the ball in such an aggressive fashion.
Great run from Jason Williams, showed plenty of speed and good on his feet in the conditions. A great tackle from behind, helping Mario Fennick there, helping David Cruikshank, but giving the penalty away for striking both at the ball and also grabbing the player who was trying to recover it.
Okay, so Western Suburbs are down in South Sydney's territory. They must retain possession now. Freeman charges for the line. He's only 7 metres away. Fella's there. Lost the ball in the tackle. That was struck for and won by South Sydney's Fennick. Boyle running sideways. Well, that was the end of Western Suburbs' hopes. If they get down into that territory, they must keep the ball.
Well, this is where South Sydney must set themselves early to kick. They can't afford 3 or 4 tackles here where they come up with the mistakes. Right tactics from Ellison.
Well, young Williams showing a lot of... well, there's a good tackle by David Moon. But Williams showing a lot of experience by stopping the ball with his foot on that occasion. Shubin out to Naden. Naden goes strongly. Tackled well by Ellison. Shubin. Clark. Bilberger. Just outside the quarter. Slowly to his feet. Scott Tronk. Throwing a looping pass that's gone to ground. It has to be fallen on by Alan Falla. And they've a net loss of about 7 metres. Brett Clark. Cogger. Comes to a shuddering halt. Gets a pass away to Schubert. Schubert throws the dummy. Gets it out to Williams. Williams goes back on the inside. Showing a lot of evasive skills. Now, he didn't make any ground at all then, but he's getting full marks for footwork. Cogger's kick is charged down. It should be 6 to go. It is. Bilberger comes away with a strong run. Back to the quarter line. So Wests are now in a good attacking position again. Falla. Freeman. Tests the South Sydney defence. It stands the test. Roberts was there. Way to Schubert. Unnecessary pass as he was falling. And I think he's been hurt. It's John Elias, I think. Or no, Scott Tronk. Lying face down, hasn't moved. So while this injury is taking place, we'll repeat the score. South Sydney 4, Western Suburbs 0. Tronk has just got to his feet. We've not missed any action with a commercial. They're only about 15 metres out from the line. Now Bilberger's walking over, wanting to get his eyes washed. Evidently it's the mud's going everywhere. A face full of water, that seems to be the answer. Well, I do think that the referee could get on with the action. That was a little bit of needless a hold-up. It's in and out the South Sydney side. Craig Coleman. Andrews goes for a little bit of a sprint to the quarter line, up the blind side. Yes, there's a player with you, David, who might be interested in playing in these sort of conditions. He's pretty good in the wet. Peter Tunks.
I don't think Peter Tunks would be too keen playing in these conditions at all, Tunks. It's pretty bad out there.
Yeah, I'm quite happy to be up here in the grandstand, David.
Well, particularly in view of the great performance by Canterbury yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's the best we've played for probably 7 or 8 weeks, and we've put together 4 wins in a row, so as long as we keep winning, that's all we really have to do.
Peter, I know a lot of the first-grade coaches that are currently in the top 5 would fear Canterbury in a grand final more than some of the others at the moment.
Well, you know, we've been there over the last 3 years 3 times, and we sort of know what semi-final football's all about. So, like I say, we've just got to make sure that we just keep winning every week and get the points together and hopefully try and finish in that top 3.
And one other thing in the favour of Canterbury is the fact that a lot of your key players are on their way back from injury.
Yeah, well, we've got David Gillespie coming back in a couple of weeks, and Paul Dunn as well. When we get all these players back, hopefully we'll be hitting form at the right time, and all those blokes will play their part, and it's just a good situation to be in, really.
OK, Pete, we'll enjoy watching your old club, South Sydney, go around. Thanks for joining us on Monday Night Football.
Thanks very much, David.
David Cruikshank had the ball kicked to him. The penalty was won by him for the 2 players that came through. I think they were Allenson and Geelan. Both failed to keep outside the range of being penalised, and the referee was quick to see it. Ellison, who's having quite an outstanding game for South Sydney, gets the kick over the sideline. Mario Fennick, Ross Harrington, who's just signed a new contract with South Sydney. Coleman, Ellison getting a good pass away to Maven. Maven presses on for a yard or 2. Coleman. Boyle did a juggling act with that one, but had to dive and take it eventually. Well, they're using a good move up the middle of the ruck. It's gone to Roberts. Roberts has hopped through a couple of defenders and got within 11 metres of the line. That was good play by South Sydney. A crisscross move worked in the middle of the ruck. Out to Blake. Blake weaves around, gets it back there to Mario Fennick. 10 metres out. Last tackle coming up. Respect the kick. It's to Cruikshank. Cruikshank gets a pass away. It's picked up by Brett Clark, the Western Suburbs halfback, or 5'8". He gets out to the quarter. Williamson slowly to his feet. Alan Fowler, the hooker, running from dummy half. I think his first thought was right to get rid of the ball, but then he decided to run. Scott Trump. A Queenslander with a future. Well, that's a terrible kick by the young number 7. Trevor Cogger, who kicked it over the sideline on the full. And that negates the idea of the whole thing. Well, the steam coming off the players out there, if our cameras are picking that up, is absolutely astonishing. Have a look at that, the engine room. Ellison, Cruikshank kicks ahead, the race is on. I think Cogger will get there first. He does, and he slides into the in-goal area. Good running again from Cruikshank.
So George Piggins is certainly impressed upon this South Sydney side to continue to kick right throughout the game. Again, good tactics and plenty of enthusiasm in the chase there from David Cruikshank, but just as well there for Western Suburbs from Trevor Cogger. That's a game of chess out there in these conditions, and enthusiasm is certainly the name of the game. Western Suburbs trying to climb off the bottom of the Winfield Cup table, just wondering how much longer they can continue to stay motivated right throughout the game as South territorially come up with the better of the game.
David Moon trying to clear the ball away from his own territory. He does a pretty good job of it too. Out it goes to Phil Blake. Stutters, stammers. Finally gets a pass away. Coleman. Fennick brushing tacklers aside. Coleman. Boyle. Davidson. Back to Ellison. Ellison gets a pass away. It's gone to ground. Being picked up by Cogger. Naden only about 12 metres out to Geelan, who's a player that seems to have sorted himself out a little bit. He had a volatile temperament all his football career. He's been around a number of clubs, and now he seems to have settled down to play football, and he's a much better player for it. Cogger's kick was a good one. Kicked on the 4th by Western Suburbs, retained possession.
Good one.
The referee looking almost as muddy as the footballs. Allenson nearly did Blake. Out to Brett Clark. Alan Geelan going close to getting that ball stolen from him. I think he has. Not so long ago he'd have got up swinging punches over that. Coleman. Ellison always gets the pass away. Picked up by Naden. Elias runs from dummy half, gets a pass to Fowler. They're just over the halfway line now with about 12 minutes to go to half time. South Sydney leading by 4 points to 0. Elias on the open side of the ruck. Freeman. A strong charge, loses the football, it's been stolen by a South Sydney player. The referee says no, it hasn't, give it back to him. Fowler, Cogger, the high ball in the air, taken well by Cruikshank and pushed back to within 8 metres of the South Sydney line.
Well taken by David Cruikshank, but there really wasn't that much pressure on him. The kicker, Trevor Cogger, was trying to follow through. I think better served if they can try and find him in goal areas, keep the ball along the ground.
Roberts runs from dummy half, picked off lovely. Beautiful diving tackle by Allenson. There's Allenson again. He gets very involved in the tackle scene, this lad. Coleman comes up with an equally good grubber kick for the line, which will gain him the feed, I believe. The referee wants that one again. The scrum is 10 yards out from the South Sydney quarter. Coleman. Ellison. Lost the ball, and it's been a penalty against Naden there for failure to get away from him.
With the scrums favouring South by 9-3, a high number of scrums already in this first half because of the number of errors and drop balls, and the penalties 4-2 to West. And the score still favouring South Sydney by 4 points to 0.
Just in time we are for Western Suburbs to get a scrum feed from a South Sydney error. It's about midway between the quarter and the halfway line. Western Suburbs enter the field. Cogger gets it in. Goes for a little sprint. Andrews drives him back with a copybook block forward tackle. Brett Clark. Good footwork. Great footwork. Right through. Beautiful. A lovely dummy weaving run of about 15 metres. He gets up looking like a drowned rat. Cogger. Schubert. Back on the inside to Elias, who's still fighting the tackles pretty successfully. Mario Fennick's got a handful of hair there. Scott Tronk ploughs up to within 10 metres of the quarter line. Fella. Well, Cogger's again, for not the first time, put the ball down in a reasonable attacking position. Very difficult conditions. Ellison put away by a good tackle there. Brett Clark was the man, but now we've got Allinson giving a penalty away. They'll take the quick tap midfield because it's just too heavy, that football, to get over the sideline from in that situation. Coleman. Boyle. Now to Fennick. Oh, jeez. I'll see you down the park for a swim. That pass looked forward to me. Out to Harrington. He's dropped it anyway, but it quite definitely went a yard forward. Well, that's an astonishingly low handling error situation. Williamson feeds it out to Naden. Naden's got it away out to Geelan. Geelan's tackled. Very well tackled by Maben. Naden. Allinson winding up to go at him. Pella. Cogger. Scott Tronk. Elias has busted one tackle, still going. He's a very strong player, this. At a low centre of gravity, takes a lot of putting over. Fella. Brett Clark. Useful kick, taking play inside the South Sydney quarter.
Much better tactics by Western Suburbs, trying to kick and find touch. Important for the 6 tackles now to try and pin South Sydney down and come up with that error as we run into the last 6 minutes before half-time.
Now Coleman will feed it. Away to Ellison. Ellison throws the dummy, goes very well for about 15 metres. He's a very smart player, cluey head. Harrington finds himself midfield. Coleman. Taylor. Blake. Gets towards the halfway line, 10 metres from it. Maven running from dummy half. And wins a penalty. Maven pats John Elias on the shoulder. Much as to say, thanks very much for that. Ellison's going to take the kick and takes it well, and another 18 metres gain for South Sydney. Critical stage of the game now. On to Roberts. Fennick. Boyle. Looks like he lost the ball. Yes, the ball ricocheted out of his hands. Western Suburbs in possession. Tromp loses it on the first tackle. Away to Fennick. Fennick out to Roberts. Roberts looking for support. Can't get his pass away. The ball's dropped to the ground. So that ball becoming very, very hard to handle after thorough impregnation of water and mud. The South Sydney pack didn't go down that time. They're out. Cogger. There's Andrews again. He's done that to him every time he's run. Clark. Naden. About 3.5 minutes to go to half-time. Allinson tackled right in the middle of the puddle. Fella. Sherbert. The ball came off a South Sydney player, I believe. A bit hard to tell in these conditions. But yes, this will be a Western Suburbs feed. Williamson. He's got some pace, this boy. Look at him go. John Bilberger running around the ruck. A penalty against Roberts. Paul Roberts for failing to get away from the tackle player. Naden. Just the one score in the match so far. South Sydney 4, Western Suburbs 0. I'm just hoping no disservice to South Sydney. I'm just hoping West can get on the board with a try, and that'll smarten everybody up.
Well, there's a difference between the two pack of forwards. As Western Suburbs take the ball up, they tend to be running one out. There's not much support there for the ball carriers. On this occasion, that's the play that's got to be made. The halves are the ones that have got to get on the fringe of the rucks there to back up those second rowers like Elias and also John Bilberger.
Williamson. Long cut-out pass to Naden. Got a pass away. It was touched in flight. Lost by Duke. Picked up by Roberts. Harrington goes from dummy half. He's almost built like a forward. He's a big lump of a lad, this Harrington. Very keen goer. Ellison gets up shaking his head. Mario Fenty gets up shaking his head. Ellison kicks over the top. Beautifully taken by Brett Clark. He's evaded 1, 2. Coming back into the form that I remember from this young fella. He's made some very good, exciting runs. Cogger. Sherbert. Naden back inside to Duke. Duke to Sherbert. Alan Geelan loses the ball in flight. Intercepted by Harrington. Ian Roberts runs from dummy half. Gets almost submerged in the swimming pool in the middle of the Sydney cricket ground. Ellison. Davidson. Beautiful pass. Just it was a low pass, but in the conditions it was excellent. If the player on the outside could have retained that, there was a long run on.
Showing what a great player he is, even the conditions. Two players hanging onto him, the ball just like a cake of soap, but he still managed to free his arms and get away a half chance for South Sydney.
I can't believe how this young fella's come along. He's improved more than anyone in the forwards that came back from the Kangaroo Tour. An astonishing thing. I remember training with the Australian side over there on a couple of occasions, and he was very quiet early in the tour, wouldn't say boo, didn't want to get involved in the running because he didn't seem to want to upset the trend of the normal guys that were in the test pack. Got a chance in a test match, and from that moment, oh boy, has he been a beauty. Clark kicking downfield. The race is on. Harrington does exactly the right thing, goes right down to it, and then goes back upfield about 7 or 8 metres. Mario Fennick tackled straight away by Scott Tronk. And there's the hooter. A very interesting first half, a half in which West were not disgraced. They've been nearly caught napping a couple of times by kick-throughs, but South Sydney's try came to Ellison, a good blindside move, worked with him throwing dummies. The Western Suburbs haven't come up with a point. South Sydney were unable to convert their try. 4 points to 0 South Sydney. We're going to hope for more action in the second half.
This one tonight. South Sydney still leading, of course, by that one sole try in the first half to Mark Ellison. South 4 and West 0. David Fordham, any changes in either side?
Well, there has been a change to the South Sydney side in the second half, Graham. The player off is Ian Roberts, who was wearing number 13. His replacement, no stranger to first-grade football, in jersey number 51 for the Rabbitohs, Lindsay Johnson.
Okay, well, we've got Ellison about to kick off for South Sydney. South Sydney leading 4-0, remember? Not a bad lead in the conditions, but it can be got. Williamson, the wing three-quarter, makes a good burst back to the quarter line. I'd really like to see this young fella get in the clear, and let's see what he can do. He's shown a good turn of speed and also some nifty footwork. Gilbert's a dummy half. Running sideways at the moment. He's not going anywhere that way. About 25 yards he ran, but only about a yard forward. Naden gets the kick downfield. Cruikshank has evaded one tackle. Fowler comes at him. Coleman. Way to Harrington. Just short of the halfway line. Lindsay Johnson bumps off a player. On the twist, he gave it to another South Sydney player. David Boyle, who went another metre or two. Les Davidson, Fennick, Craig Coleman, Cruikshank. Oh, very close to being through. Caught by Brett Clark in a good last-ditch tackle. Moving it out to Fennick. Fennick's put his head down and burrowed for another 7 or 8 metres. Now the kicking game. The high bomb's been put in. Brett Clark takes it. Comes back into the field of play by about 4 metres. Williamson. Schubert. Freeman. Still only about 8 metres out from their line. Duke. Fowler. Bilberger. He's running crossfield too. There's not much in the way of advantage. That's the way to run. Schubert runs hard and straight, kicks ahead. A race for the ball, kicks again. Been taken out of it. Has he? We'll see. Yes, the referee's going to blow his whistle for a penalty. Naden's going to take a quick one. No, he's been told to calm himself down. He does take it now. Out to Cogger. Cogger out to Gillen. Gillen goes back on the inside, going straight and hard. Gets to the quarter. Fowler. Cogger. Williamson. Now Freeman takes it up. And gets belted back to where he started from. Now Lindsay Johnson has been, I think, a little bit roughly treated by the referee there. I thought Freeman fell over. Well, he could be booked on a 402 for overacting on that one, I believe. Schubert will take the kick. He's kicked 1987, 1 try and 28 goals, a tally of 60 points. Now the dimensions of the kick, it's a couple of metres out from the quarter line and it's about, well, perhaps 20 metres off centre. He's got it very high on a mound of sand. And he's a conventional straight-on kicker. And he misses, but the redeeming feature, he did kick the ball dead. Schubert stops it with his foot. Not a Williamson, who's got to the halfway, or Bog City as it looks like. That's about the worst part of the mud just there. Fowler, Freeman. Fowler, Cogger, Clark, Schubert. Back on the inside to Naden. Well, they're playing drive with the football at the moment. Out to Allison. Allison's got into the clear. He's going straight and gets put out on the quarter line. Last tackle coming up. Gets to his feet, plays it. Out to Brett Clark. Does a little kick through. Cruikshank falls on it and is picked off in turn by Alan Fowler.
Nearly a clever little kick here from Brett Clark. He saw that the entire South Sydney defence was going across field. They only just hesitated in getting there. Brett Clark nearly able to read that and tow it ahead to the line.
Harrington does a good job of fending off there as he runs from dummy half. Well, Mario made no ground, but the player Elias was around the ruck in an offside situation. Now Mario Fennick is down injured. The scoreline is 4-0 in South Sydney's favour. We've seen a great passage of play by Western Suburbs, moving the ball very well from a deep kick by Ellison into their own quarter. They've run it out nicely. Playing a touch of dry weather football. Brett Clark's kick looks like it could be a beauty. It is. In a touch about 15 metres out from the South Sydney line. See it again.
He's having a strong game, Brett Clark, for Western Suburbs. Well, this is a major mistake from Ross Harrington. He should have known better. The ball was going out over the sideline. He was no chance of stopping that. He got a hand to it. Now Western Suburbs come up with the feed.
Now what Western Suburbs have got to do is to retain possession of the football for the 6 tackles. It's in and out. Cogger to Brett Clark. Ooh, he was trying to get around Ellison. I think he's got the pace on Ellison too, but Ellison positioned himself well. Bilberger, 11 metres out. Fowler on a tronk, only about 7 metres away now for the scoring. Fowler, Cogger, Brett Clark puts it down. Snatched at it. Every picture tells a story. Well, Mario Phoenix down on the broad of his back there. The entire South Sydney pack appeared to be down. And yet they don't come up with a penalty. Maven trying to run his way out of trouble there. It's a good tough run. He's going sideways. Runs into Allison and gets belted to the ground. Michael Blake trying to sneak through there on the inside. Fennick a couple of metres beyond the quarter line. Ellison getting some sanity back into proceedings. Naden takes it, came off his leg. He's got a bit of pace. Phil Duke it is. Got a bit of pace. He's rounded his man, gone straight up the sideline, going beautifully. He could score. No, he couldn't. He's been taken out. And got to pass away. The ball went to ground and South Sydney have it.
Sensational run from Duke just at the last minute there. The pass going astray. He had Geelan on the outside. He had been able to get a clean ball away. No doubt a try was on in the corner for Western Suburbs, showing plenty of pace. The man is down injured now following that great side-stepping run.
One wonders what would have happened if he'd just taken as far as he could go, got up and played the ball as quickly as he could. So 4-0, South Sydney still lead. South Sydney in possession. Ellison kicks for touch. Not going to find it. Williamson's there. He started on a run. He makes a good inroad of about 15 metres before being pulled down. Fowler takes over. And David, the crowd tonight is, despite the rain,
8,234, which is an excellent crowd for Monday Night Football, Rex, particularly in view of the conditions. I'd say a lot of the South Sydney fans out tonight to cheer on their beloved skipper Mario Fennick, who tonight plays his 100th first-grade game. He started back in '83 with a win over St George, but I'm sure he knows how vital a win would be here tonight against Western Suburbs.
Indeed, so congratulations to Mario Fennick. 100 first-grade games tonight. That kick was a good one from Brett Clark. It ricocheted off a South Sydney player's shoulder. And it will be a Western Suburbs feed.
Just goes to show you how strong Mario Fennick is physically in just such a short number of seasons from South Sydney. The skipper has come up with 100 games in just those 4 and 5 seasons for the Rabbitohs. Plenty of durability there.
Craig Coleman to feed the scrum. It surprised me. The kick has been put down. Oh, there's an error. Naden will touch it. No, he won't. Would have been a stupid thing for him to have done. He was offside. He hesitated over it. Now he's back in position. Naden's down, injured now. He's the last line of defence. I wouldn't suggest that that was not a legitimate injury.
Well, there was plenty of opportunities here for the ball. The ball went astray when Gielan was trying to check it. Phil Duke, they were a man short in the back line. There was no winger there. Duke was injured at the time. The ball continued to stay loose, and plenty of courage from Naden to come up and recover from the first mistake and nearly losing a head in the bargain.
Yes, I believe that that was probably a legitimate injury there. There was a moment when he paused, preparing to be offside, but decided against it. A likely change in the Western Suburbs side, David.
Yes, we have Brett Davis coming out, warming up on the touchline. If he can warm up on a night like this tonight, Rex, he'll be wearing number 17. That's him in picture there at the moment, getting last-minute instructions from coach Steve Goshen.
And who's he going to replace?
Well, that I'd say the injured player was Duke. He's a centre three-quarter from reserve grade, so we'll just wait and see. I'd say it will be Philip Duke.
All right, well, Scott Chonk now barges his way about 3 metres. Western Suburbs playing at the wrong end of the field to get themselves into this game. Freeman belted hard with a crashing shoulder charge from directly in front by Davidson. Bilbiger going very well through the middle of the ruck there. Brett Clark. Cogger does a high kick. It's not on at that particular stage. David Moon takes it very well, 10 metres from the halfway. What was called for was a deeper kick than that to have them turning and running back. Philip Duke off and Brett Davis on in number 17. And here they go now. Naden's running the fullback. Brett Davis is on the outside of him. Chonk trying to, well, he's still ploughing forward. They let him go at the last minute and he fell in a gigantic puddle. Schubert. But he's passed away out there. It's a good run from Williamson, again showing plenty of pace, plenty of elusive qualities. That'll be 6 to go, or it should be. It touched the South Sydney player's head. Alan Gielan. Well, again, a penalty against South Sydney. And that time it was Ellison who earned the eye of the referee. Foul out to Freeman. Freeman taken by Johnson. Fella. Cogger. Elias stands, gets it back to, that was Elias. Bilbiger was the man that gave it to him, to Fella. Brett Clark, Schubert, Allenson sights the line and goes, he's in! Western Suburbs have scored. John Allenson has come off a Schubert pass and gone and scored a try. See that one
done again. So plenty of trouble now for South Sydney as they try to keep pace with the leaders in the Winfield Cup. A great ball from Ian Schubert. He was looking wide, then he just held the pass up brilliantly. He heard the call from Allenson, who was coming. He saw the line. Johnny Raper was talking at half-time. The quickest way to that try line is straight ahead. He had no opposition. Les Davidson was the man, arriving too late on the spot. Brett Clark saw they had the numbers. And Ian Schubert, this is the ball that made it. He drew Mario Fennick in. He put him through the half gap. Craig Coleman couldn't get there. And Les Davidson, the man who's been struggling in back play a little bit with injury. More of that shortly. But Brett Clark, good quick hands, and Ian Schubert, all the experience there in just sucking the defence in to provide the spaces there for John Allenson, who has played strongly in the centre for Western Suburbs tonight, and plenty of problems for South Sydney, and David Fordham also a change for the Rabbitohs.
Yes, the man you spoke about, Les Davidson, arriving too late. Just at that stage, the Joe Thomas, the reserve grade captain, was warming up to replace the international Kangaroo second row forward. But Davidson making his exit from the Sydney Cricket Ground, his replacement, number 22, Joe Thomas.
Okay, well, we've got a kick at goal in front of us if this one goes over, which is highly doubtful from out there. Brett Davis is the kicker from 3 metres inside the quarter and about 8 metres in from the sideline. It will be a hell of a shock in these conditions. Never a chance, never gave it a chance, never high enough. So the scores, South Sydney 4, West 4. We're back with the action, with the kick-off just taken place. Schubert's the man that came up with the ball. He appeared to lose that directly. No, it was Williamson. I'm sorry, some of these players get up absolutely covered in mud and it's hard to tell. There's the scrum win to South Sydney. Coleman. Ellison swivels, goes back on the inside. An old ploy, but a goodie. Andrews ploughing forward. He's only 9 metres away. Coleman, Lindsay Johnson, grasping tight to that football. Mario Fennick. Ellison. I believe that's Maven. No, it's not Maven. There's a little grubber kick being put in. It's not bad, but it's cleaned up by Naden very smartly.
They continue with the right tactics, but that enthusiasm I talked about in the first half, West certainly motivated now with that try hitting back. Man having a strong game for the Magpies there to tidy it all up. Brett Clark and David, South Sydney, another change there on the sideline.
Yes, Paul Roberts, the other second row forward, is about to come off the field. His replacement is Michael Pobsey, a man that made his mark as a centre three-quarter with the Rabbitohs, but this year in reserve grade playing in the second row.
Still South Sydney in possession. That was Thomas that played it in 22. Mario Fennick's the dummy half. Coleman. Boyle. Has the ball stolen by Allenson. Allenson goes up towards the quarter and gets there. Well, that was a slow motion play, the ball. Fella running from dummy half, runs sideways, and he made about a 3-yard gain. Schubert, Scott Tronk. Schubert. Brett Clark as he's kicked cleaned up. That's bad work by him. That's a charge down. Thomas, Craig Coleman. Coleman gets a forward pass there to a player coming through. Paul Roberts. It was quite definitely forward. See it again.
A mile forward as Craig Coleman was running out of options on the outside. He looked back infield and the pass well and truly forward, and probably lucky there not to earn a penalty.
Well, Cogger's being spoken to by the touch judge, but nonetheless it'll still be a Western Suburbs feed with Cogger to put the ball in.
Paul Roberts leaving the field there and Pobsey out there in the second row in 34.
Pobsey in 34. John Elias Tends to run a bit sideways. In these conditions, he can't use the pace that he's got. Gilbert, Cogger. Still plenty of time to go. There's 19 minutes left in the game. Kick put through for David Moon.
Interesting change there for South Sydney too. Steve Maven moving into the forwards, and Pobsy, who was racing out there to take the place in the second row, was moved out wide into the centre position.
Thomas got a pass away there. Lindsay Johnson didn't think it was for him, then suddenly had to bolt and fall on it. Michael Blake stuttering with his feet. Fennick. Coleman caught in a good tackle, loses the ball. South Sydney cleaned it up, but nonetheless it was an excellent tackle. The scrum will go down 10 yards from the halfway line. Oh gee, there's a dangerous pass. But offside as the South Sydney backs. They're all standing offside. Naden takes the quick tap, runs with it. Gets to within about 8 metres of the halfway line. Allenson runs from dummy half. Gets to the halfway. He's right in the middle of Bog City at the moment. Cogger. Freeman. I cannot tell you what that middle looks like.
Well, there was plenty of complaints from the Balmain camp yesterday about the condition of the Sydney Cricket Ground. 12-all, that one between the Roosters and the Tigers, and here we are again backing up the following 24 hours. 4-all here at the Cricket Ground with Souths and Wests.
Ian Schubert tried to get a bit cluey then, a bit smart, and tried to get the pass away when he was tackled. It didn't work, and South Sydney came up with the ball. Michael Popchi having a run in the forwards, 34. He came on looking so bright and clean, and now he's all mucked up. Thomas lost that ball forward. Picked up by Gillen. Williams still searching for that run, the debut boy. Fowler. Out to Elias. The handling has been quite good from both sides. Cogger. Brett Clark. Don't throw it there, son. They're up very quick. There goes an in-pass. I think it went to John Allenson, if I can identify him correctly. The last tackle coming up now. They ought to put this one deep. Brett Clark. Little grubber kick through. Kicks it again. Kicks it again. Taken out of the play. The referee says, play on. Ross Harrington. Oh, smashed to the ground. That wouldn't have done him a whole lot of good. Freeman got him beautifully there. Freeman's absolutely covered in a wash from the white stuff they put on the lines, and he looks like a ghost.
Great hit from Ian Freeman. Terrific hit, seeing that it's so difficult to plant himself and get any leverage there in the mud. But South Sydney starting to struggle. Only just under 16 minutes to go in their second half, and they shouldn't abandon their kicking game. They really feel as though, with the score being only 4-all, they really feel as though they've got to start pushing the football. They can't abandon the kicking game. They've got to try and play this territorially and hope that Western Suburbs are going to come up with the unforced errors.
David Boyle, Thomas at dummy half, runs from there. Nearly back to the halfway. Coleman. Ellison, that's what they need to do, harass the kicker. Away to Williamson. This boy has done everything right tonight. Allenson from dummy half. Caught by the leg by Andrews. Freeman, the white ghost, goes straight ahead. Terrifying sight he is. Fowler. Clark. Scott Tronk. Bilberger. Clark nicely put through the gap was Bilberger. Stands in a tackle, can't get a pass away. Naden does the honours with a kick which takes play over the South Sydney sideline about 12 metres out.
And they're certainly the ones showing South Sydney how it should be done. Not trying to come up with too much play and trying to rush it out wide, and their kicking game has certainly come into play a lot more than South Sydney.
What a great time to get one against the feed. No way with the way that the little bloke puts the ball on the scrum. It's a very cluey halfback. David, a replacement for South.
Yes, David Moon has come on in jersey number 45. Rex, he's replaced Harrington. And the Western Suburbs camp are also warming up two players. Number 55, Wayne Lampkin, and number 21, Terry Donnellan. And I believe that a front rower and a second rower are coming off at this stage from the Western Suburbs camp. They haven't confirmed who.
Okay. Terry Donnellan, and 55 was who, David?
Wayne Lampkin.
Oh, yes.
Wayne Lampkin. So Donnellan's already made his way onto the field. Bilbert is the player coming off, and as I mentioned, one of the front rows, either Tronk or Freeman, will be replaced by the big lad in 55, Wayne Lampkin.
Well, Mario Phoenix seeking attention at the moment. He's down on one knee. I think it's to do with mud in the eyes. Well, we might take a break with South Sydney 4, Western Suburbs 4. We're back with a South Sydney scrum win. Joe Thomas goes from dummy half. Back to Ellison, who drives it into Western Suburbs territory. It's rolling for the line. It won't get it. But Maven arrives in time with Brett Clark, who said the referee knocked on.
And a good decision from Greg McCallum. He was right up on the play. The pressure was there from Steve Maven. And there was just a little touch of the knock-on as Brett Clark turned to face his attacker. A good decision by McCallum, and South Sydney with their best chance in the last 5 or 10 minutes to try and turn this score around.
Well, that may be the most important tackle of the night, that one. This is giving South Sydney the opportunity to get a feed only about 20 metres or 18 metres out from the line. The ball has been washed, and some of the players are getting a bit cleaned up around the eye area.
And South Sydney are lined extremely deep, hoping for this scrum feed. If they can get a nice clean ball out, no doubt Mark Ellison will be looking for David Cruikshank to come into the back line.
Ellison, Cruikshank comes into the line straight and hard, finishes up 11 metres out. Now let's see what happens from here. Back to Ellison, on to Lindsay Johnson. Can't release the ball. Wrapped up properly. Schubert's the tackler. Coleman goes from dummy half. He's tackled too. I think they're working towards there was a little knock on there. Well, the referee didn't see that, or I'm seeing double. Coleman has to fall on it.
And the difficulty here with the field goal is that in the mud in the centre of the field, in case if he goes for the field goal, he's got to look for the bounce and leverage to try and get it into the air.
Well, he's gone for the bomb. It's gone into the in-goal area. Who's got it? Knocked on in goal. Knocked on in goal. By heavens, the South Sydney fans won't enjoy that.
So they elected to go for the bomb. The ball was chased by Cruikshank and coming forward. And Greg McCallum certainly on the spot again as the crowd wanting to dispute the decision with the referee, but Cruikshank losing the ball and not being able to control it.
Well, I think Western Suburbs will be eminently happy with a 1 point from this game. But it's not over yet. We've still got time for a result either way. Actually, it's been a very bright game. There's been some good running, some good handling and passing. Alan Fuller at dummy half. Wayne Lampkin swung around, caught by the jumper. Brett Clark driving the ball deep. Fails to get it, and over the sideline it goes. Tried to stop it with his foot.
David Moon nearly coming up with the same mistake as Ross Harrington a few moments ago, who tried to play at the ball that led to the West scrum fee, but fortunately for South Sydney, he didn't get a touch as he stuck his foot out.
The scrum going down on the quarter. In and out. Ellison tries to dummy. Nobody falls for that. That's Donovan there, number 21. Naden, the fullback, number 29. There's Thomas, the replacement forward for South Sydney, running. Waste of a tackle that time, Michael Blake. David Boyle clutching the ball grimly to his chest, runs. Coleman, Lindsay Johnson, good pass, got it away to Ellison. Oh, it's been taken as an intercept by Geelan, knocked it in the air, caught it again and set sail. Here go Western Suburbs. Williams, Brett Clark stops and tries to dummy but can't do anything, has the ball stolen from him. That was Boyle that stole the ball from him. Lindsay Johnson coming away from dummy half. Moving it out to the left to Michael Blake. He swung to the ground 10 metres his own side of halfway. There's the Ellison kick downfield. It won't find touch. Picked off by the tackle of Andrews was Brett Clark. Number 15 there, Scott Davis, or Brett Davis, is in some sort of trouble. It looks like a cramp to me. Well, there's a Western Suburbs change. They're coming thick and fast. David.
Well, it's finally, after about a 7 or 8 minute warm-up on the touchline, Wayne Lampkin, in number 55, has made his way onto the field, and it appears that Freeman is the man coming off.
Well, Freeman's put a lot of hard work into that game. He's not the most attractive footballer to watch. He tends to die with the football. But the game suited his plans tonight, and he did a good job. Wayne Lampkin coming away with a strong burst. Oh, Cogger's kick, Brett Clark's kick was not strong. It just trickled off his foot. Now South Sydney back in possession. They're only about 36 metres out. Fennick runs from dummy half, can't get through the tackle. David Moon running, flattened by 2 Western Suburbs players. This is all taking place about 8 metres outside the quarter. Joey Thomas. The last tackle. Will they try the bomb again? They do. It's cleaned up in goal by Western Suburbs.
And lucky on this occasion, the Magpies, a lack of communication. Nobody wanted to take the ball on the full. They were fortunate the bounce wasn't awkward and favouring them, but geez, that is just signing a death warrant there if you just want to let a ball bounce around in your own in goal.
Brett Clark finally getting to it and cleaning it up, but the opinion is right. It's a death wish. From the kickoff, David Moon gets the ball fed to him. He runs hard, gets barreled too. Lampkin's there to tackle him. Still about 6 minutes to go. Time for a result. I don't know where they'd kick a field goal from here at the moment. Lindsay Johnson. Back inside to Thomas. Thomas away to Andrews. Andrews strong. Fenn going, crawling along the ground. He's only about 5 metres away. Out to Ellison. Ellison, the little brother kick through. It's knocked on in goal again. And still South Sydney pound away, trying desperately to get a result.
The ball going free, but McCallum in a good spot to rule that Western Suburbs hand did force the ball. It was lost there, not forced. But claiming that he claimed in actual fact that the ball was forced on the first occasion. South's claiming the try. The minutes ticking away now, just under 6 minutes. South Sydney certainly have got to take the option, whether they can try and lift this ball out of the mud or not. They've got to head towards those goalposts and try and get that extra point.
David Boyle. Well, he's running ferociously out to Roberts today, to Moon. Moon comes. He's upended. Michael Blake runs from dummy half. He's got to within 9 metres. Fennick slips. Tried to get through the gap there. Coleman will put another grab in here. And Ellison's kick has not gone forward. It's gone sideways. It's been knocked backwards. That will be a handover to Western Suburbs.
Certainly no need to hurry the play here for West. They just can't afford to try and use any real force to crash out of their quarter in case that they lose the ball with those scores all still tied up. They can't abandon that kicking game. They've got to get themselves well and truly out of their quarter and see if South Sydney can bring it back.
There's a long kick being put downfield by Naden. Good footwork. To Andrews. Andrews loses the ball. Clicked up by Naden. Given away to Schubert. Schubert's off upfield. Running well. Gets it to Williamson. Williamson comes midfield. He's evaded 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a great debut by this young fella. Believe me, they've got a potential star in their hands with this boy. And it's a penalty to South Sydney.
Another great run by the man making his debut, Jason Williams. The ball was kicked there before it touched the mud on this occasion, so it'll be another safe play by West without a doubt. The ball's so heavy they'll just tap it and take it straight up the middle. But a great debut by Jason Williams. The conditions certainly haven't affected his play. You'll see as he comes back in field, even though regardless of the amount of mud here in the middle of the Sydney Cricket Ground, he's able to step, prop, change direction, plenty of pace and plenty of confidence from the young man who continually beats tackles here tonight. And won't he be happy if West do escape with just the 1 point tonight? He can certainly wake up in the morning know full well that his debut has been a great one in the Sydney Winfield Cup.
Well, let's hope he never loses the enthusiasm he's shown tonight, because he's had a marvellous debut game. I really am applauding. Schubert, belying his years, runs very well, strongly. Mario Fennick's got him. Schubert gets to his feet. Fella runs from dummy half. We've got less than 5 minutes to go now. Wayne Lampkin. The South Sydney defence is just creeping up a little bit here. They could be penalised. That will raise the ire of the South Sydney fans if they do. Last tackle coming now. The ball should be put into the in-goal area and the chasers sent through. Well, he's got out. There was only one chaser there. South Sydney must try to kick and get down the end of the field. They've lost the ball. Western Suburbs come up with it.
Well, South Sydney never took the option to the field goal. West with the perfect opportunity. They're only 12 metres out from the south line, close to the goalpost. An opportunity just to head straight for them. They continue to spread it wide. It's as if nobody wants to try and gain the extra point to come up with a win tonight.
Well, they've got a drier area up there than down the other end of the field. There's nothing surer than that. The ball would probably bounce. Schubert. Out to Allenson. He skates through a tackle and finishes up 5 metres from the line. Last tackle. Well, there's a kick that's wouldn't have even got a point in an Aussie rules game. It went to the left of the goal.
Well, there was good harassment out of the dummy half position. They were set for it, Western Suburbs. They had to rush it. South Sydney started to come down to apply the pressure. He couldn't get the kick in time. And that ball, that heavy ball, has caused so many problems all night for both sides.
Well, Maiden tackled Michael Blake very hard then. The ball bounced out of his hands as he backslammed him. And he came up with the ball, but the referee called for the set scrum. Western Suburbs ball again. Allenson stands, props, tries to go back. Sherbert, Naden drops the ball. I think Sherbert said something to him there. Well, the referee showing a little bit of common sense and moving them from the scrum out of the mud patch, which will make the footing a little better. Coleman to David Moon, or Jason Moon. He's tackled just over the halfway line. Coleman, Andrews. Coleman. I think that was Thomas. There's Andrews, lost the ball. Ellison lost the ball forward. So there'll be a scrum, and again, there it is, the full-time hooter, and that will be construed as the point that got away. South Sydney lay down their certainties to win the game in everyone's book, and let Western Suburbs come up with a try to come away with a 4-all draw. Ellison a try for Souths, Allenson a try for Western Suburbs, and an astonishing game of football, highlighted by some excellent handling, even in these atrocious conditions. Both sets of players get my congratulations. I'll be back a little bit later with the man of the match.
Well, South Sydney captain Mario Fenech said before the match that the two vital points were up for grabs, but he felt that Western Suburbs were going to provide nuisance value here tonight at the Sydney Cricket Ground, and nuisance value they were, with the points being shared in a 4-all draw. But the Daily Mirror man of the match goes in fact to the Western Suburbs dressing room, and probably if you have a look, your guess is as good as mine who it is. Under all that mud is Brett Clark. Brett, you weren't in the original lineup, but obviously you relished the opportunity of playing first grade football.
Yes, mate, I love the first grade football, just the professionalism of the first grade, and just playing against players like the blokes from South Sydney. They're a good side and just brings the best out of me.